So the very last thing I want to show, which will kind of complete my demos unless you guys have specific questions during class, is for my mug makers to how to create a handle. I'm probably going to show you just a couple different ways to do so. So you can kind of choose the route you want to take. Although if you have some other ideas or want to look at some other artists, feel free to YouTube how to make a handle, to Google how to make a handle. So if you're not really happy with my demonstration here today, definitely take a look and see what you can find. So I ripped off a chunk of clay. Some of it will kind of get cut off. It's also pretty rough looking right now. I want to get it kind of in a coil. And look at that, like that's just because of the way my clay is here that might cause some issues here later on. I think I'm gonna kind of roll with it here. And I'm looking for a coil. I actually might also cut off some of the ends because I think this is maybe a little bit too much clay, although I won't really be able to tell until I kind of get it over to the pot. So I'm just gonna cut off a chunk there, maybe cut off the end here. I'm gonna roll this a little bit more. I think with anything, the most preliminary work that you could do prior, the better. So I am going to start by first, I kind of hold my handle, my handle into my hand like this, and then I'm going to hit this area with my thumb, or my pointer, not my thumb. This kind of starts this sort of form. I may move my hand down just a little bit. Now, I've struggled with handles in the past. Handles are tough. I always made my handles too thin and not fat enough or chunky enough. And that was always my issue. So I did that to both sides, and now I kind of have this weird sort of shape happening. And then I'm also going to pinch the sides. So I'm getting it all ready into almost a flattened kind of coil. And I haven't even done the pulling part, which is what I'm going to show next. And it's hard to pull a handle. It's hard to make a handle. I might kind of hit this a little bit more. And this is usually my guide, so it's kind of creating that shape on my hand there. But again, I'm going to pinch this out a little bit more. You can see my clay is cracking a little bit. It's not the most plastic. You can also kind of roll it on the table just a little bit. The biggest thing about this is your connection areas to your cup need to be nice and thick, or thicker than the rest. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a side, and I'm actually going to pull the handle. So I'm pretty much going to get this part of my hands wet. And it takes a second for it to kind of get moving while I kind of wet the clay. And I might move this out of the way so you can see better. But I'm just essentially pulling the handle kind of downward. And really, it's just kind of, I let go with each one. If I need more water, I can grab it. I don't really. It mostly kind of turns into slip. I really have a wide handle going on right now. Kind of turn it too once I feel like it's too thin in some areas. And it's really thinned out. So this is like the act of pulling a handle. It's really kind of thinned out. I have this weird sort of bone shape. I don't really like what's happening right here. And I'll probably be able to fix that once it goes on my pot. My handle is very long or wide and strappy, but I think it's probably okay. It's pretty small. Like you can kind of, when you fold it up, it's not the biggest handle right now. I could maybe pull a little bit more, but I think it's how I started it. So I'm going to move over to my cup here just for time's sake too. And And I'm gonna see how this looks on my cup. And you may put it up to that cup and be like, geez, that doesn't look good. And you may re-pull out another handle, or you may put it up and be like, hey, that looks pretty all right. I may adjust my bottom here so it really kind of fits onto my cup. I also want to score and slip my cup in the areas that it's going to connect to. So always, always, always scoring and slipping. And I kind of threw all my nasty shavings on my pot there. I'm going to add a healthy amount of slip as always. I do also, see, look what I did, yuck. But I do also want to score this area because it's large enough. And I will attach it. And again, this is really pretty chunky. Might work at it a little bit. I know that came off my slip just a little bit, but it's because I'm still kind of moving my cup here, or my handle here. Can't tell you how many times also that I have attached a handle and have it been lopsided. My handle might be a little bit too wide. Sorry, I had to restart the video. I'm going to kind of roll with it just for time's sake, and I wish it was a little thinner though. You can also shape it now at this point, so I'm just trying to, you can see the profile. Usually like happy D's are what you want. You don't want sad D's. I like the little happy D. I still don't like this area where it's kind of got this little indentation. And I may be able to add a little Band-Aid, but I also might have to wait. I think my clay was pretty good. Just kind of cleaning it up. As with everything, at first it looks pretty rough and you have to work at it. Clean up the slip around the connector areas. These areas are the biggest thing. Like they need to be, and I might take a little bit of water. They need to be thicker, which a lot of students make it really, really thin. Like I see too many handles that look like this. Rolled out coil attached at the cup. Like that's a sad little handle. Take a look, like Google handles, and you will see not this kind of handle. You want to give it that love and attention that it needs. I always tend to pull my handle. Sorry, I gotta stay in the field of view. Really kind of smush down this connector area. And again, I have a really wide handle, but I think like you guys get the gist of what I'm getting at. But this handle is really sad. He's also too small. So depending on the size of your cup, like he needs some work. And I don't even know if this would be enough work, but I think having it a little bit flatter can help. Still really thin, and these connector areas, and I'm just kind of smushing it down on my thing, and now all of a sudden that's getting a little bit thicker there. So you see that difference between the bottom there? And I'm gonna do the same thing with the bottom. And again, I don't really like this handle. I made this in like 2 seconds. But already that looks a little bit healthier where your handle will stick to the pot and I'm not nervous about it breaking off, especially when it's fired and you go to use it. So either one, I kind of pinched this one out. And please feel free to take a look at another artist or teacher and how they make handles, because that may help you kind of figure things out. Mine still needs some work and cleanup, but so I rolled out a coil pinched the top, pushed it in, pinched the sides, and then grabbed a little bit of water. Right here you can see where I pulled, just sort of a downward motion, and then I scored and slipped and attached. So that was kind of an overview. You can always rewatch the video or take a look at another artist or teacher creating handles. Hopefully this helps. Thanks.